Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Buddhist Temple of Toledo. Please be seated and turn to page 2 in the flat chat book that's underneath your cushion. Yata of atonement. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 Refuges. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana Refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers, for the lineage of teachers before them. I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, and may their vows be completely realized, and may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings, generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred, being close to some and distant from others. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. The reading today is in the spiral-bound book under your cushion or share with a neighbor, and it's the Loving Kindness Sutra on page 16. Loving Kindness Sutra. This is what should be done. By one who is skilled in goodness and knows the path of peace, let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and not demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or tall, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none, through anger or ill will, wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects her life, her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upward to the skies and downward to the depths, outward and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness, one to sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born in this useless world. Please stand for the Heart Sutra. That's back in the other book on page 4. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva practicing deep Prajna Paramita clearly saw that all five skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra form is no other than emptiness, emptiness, no other than form, form is exactly emptiness, emptiness, exactly form, sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, path, no wisdom, and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by Prajna Paramita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond elusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by Prajna Paramita, attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that Prajna Paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the Prajna Paramita mantra, set forth this mantra and proclaim Gatte Gatte Para Gatte Parsam Gatte Bodhisvaha Gatte Gatte Para Gatte Parsam Gatte Bodhisvaha Gatte 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 Parsam Gatte Bodhisvaha. The harmony of relative and absolute, the mind of the great sage of India is intimately conveyed from west to east among human beings. Our wise ones northern or southern ancestor. The subtle source is clear and bright. The tributary streams flow through the darkness. To be attached to things is illusion. To encounter the absolute is not yet enlightenment. Each and all the subjective and objective spheres are related and at the same time independent, related yet working differently, though each keeps its own place. Form makes the character and appearance different. Sounds distinguish comfort and discomfort. The dark makes all words one. The brightness distinguishes good and bad phrases. The four elements return to their nature as a child to its mother. Fire is hot, wind moves, water is wet, earth hard, eye see, ears hear, nose smells, tongue tastes the salt and sour. Each is independent of the other. Cause and effect must return to the great reality. The words high and low are used relatively within light. There is darkness, but do not try to understand that darkness. Within darkness there is light, but do not look for that light. Light and darkness are a pair, not one, not two, like the foot before and the foot behind in walking. Each thing has its own intrinsic value and is related to everything else in function and position. Ordinary life is the absolute as a box and its lid. The absolute works together with the relative, like two arrows meeting in midair. Reading words, you should grasp the great reality. Do not judge by any standards. If you do not see the way, you do not see it, even as you walk on it. When you walk the way, it is not near, it is not far. But if you are confused, mountains and rivers block your way. I respectfully urge you who study the mystery, do not pass your days and nights in vain. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the 6 worlds, and we dedicate it in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to Pete, Alyssa, Joe, Lorelei, Father Gorman, Molly, Debbie, Charlie, Julie, and William, as well as those names we hold in the silence of our hearts and those we now voice aloud. with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. Buddhas throughout space and time. All honored ones, Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Mahaprajna, Paramita. Dharma School teachers and students, please head to the Ancestor Hall. And everyone else, please be seated and prepare for Zazen. For walking meditation, at the sound of the clappers, we'll start out slowly. First and third rows turn to the right, second and fourth turn to the left. And at the second clappers, we'll go normal walking speed. We will now recite the Sangha Covenant on page 8 of your chant book. We, the Daishin Kokuji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with the wonder and the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated for Teisho. You're welcome to sit facing the teachers and sit comfortably. Gata on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out on this gorgeous, snowy morning. We're having a real January Sunday. So today we are going to continue on with our discussion of Zen flesh, Zen bones. We're on the second case. But before we go into that, I just wanted to let everyone know that we had a clergy retreat yesterday. And just like to say, we're so proud of our priests. I think they are doing such an incredible job, and their practice is so deep, and their commitment to the Sangha, it's really beautiful to behold. Thank you. Right. This case is called Finding a Diamond on a Muddy Road. It's a bit long. I'm going to read the whole thing, and it has a little bit of that sort of like samurai Zen master vibe going on. So you're going to go on a little sort of journey with this case. Gudo was the emperor's teacher of his time. Nevertheless, he used to travel alone as a wandering mendicant, so a wandering monk, looking very tattered. Once, when he was on his way to Edo, today called Tokyo, the cultural and political center of the shogunate, he approached a little village named Takanaka. It was evening, and a heavy rain was falling. Gudo was thoroughly wet. His straw sandals were in pieces. At a far-off farmhouse near the edge of the village, he noticed 4 or 5 pairs of sandals in the window and decided to buy some dry ones. The woman offered him the sandals, and seeing how wet he was, invited him to remain for the night in her home. We know something's going to happen right now, don't we? Gudo accepted, thanking her. He entered and recited a sutra before the family shrine, which is sort of courtesy for monks. He was then introduced to the woman's mother and to her children. Observing that the entire family was totally depressed, Gudo asked, "What is wrong?" The housewife told him, "My husband is a gambler and a drunkard. When he happens to win, he drinks and he becomes abusive. When he loses, he borrows money from others. Sometimes, when he becomes thoroughly drunk, he does not come home at all. What can I do? Please help me, O Zen master." Gudo said, "I will help him. Here's some money. Get me a gallon of the finest wine and something good to eat. Then you may retire. I will meditate before the shrine." When the man of the house returned about midnight, quite drunk, he bellowed, "Hey, wife, I'm home. I want something to eat. I need another drink." Past lifetimes experience. Out of the corner, he hears someone say, "I have something for you." And it was none other than Gudo, not his wife. I happened to be caught in the rain, and your wife kindly asked me to remain here in the night. In return, I've brought some wine and fish, so you might as well have them. And of course, the man was delighted. Yeah, that's what I've been waiting for. He drank the He drank the wine at once and laid himself down on the floor. Gudo sat in meditation beside him. Now remember the name of the story, Finding a Diamond in a Muddy Road. I would say perhaps a muddy floor. He laid himself down on the floor. Gudo sat in meditation beside him. In the morning, when the husband awoke, he had forgotten all about the previous night. Who are you? Where did you come from? He asked Gudo, who was still meditating in the shadows. I am Gudo of Kyoto, and I am going on to Edo, replied the Zen master. The man was utterly ashamed. He knew who the guy was. He apologized profusely to the teacher of his emperor. Gudo smiled and said, "Everything in this life is impermanent. Life is very brief. If you keep on gambling and drinking, you will have no time left to accomplish anything else, and you will cause your family to suffer." The perception of the husband awoke as if from a dream. "You're right," he declared. "How can I ever repay you for this wonderful teaching? Let me see you off and carry your things a little way." "If you wish," assented Gudo. The two started out. After they had gone 3 miles, Gudo told him to return. "Just another 5 miles," he begged Gudo. They continued on. "You may return now," suggested Gudo. "After another 10 miles," the man replied. "Return now," said Gudo, when the 10 miles had passed. "I'm going to follow you all the rest of my life," declared the man. Modern Zen teachers in Japan spring from the lineage of a famous Zen master who was the successor of Gudo. His name was Munan, the man who never turned back. Cool, huh? So, Munan is in our lineage. He's directly related to Hakuin. I think his teacher was the teacher of Hakuin. So he's a very important figure in our particular family style. He was a Rinzai master. So Rinzai is more of the koan style, more of the focus on awakening, and satori that flavors our particular temple. So there's a backstory to this story, which makes it a little even more interesting. It turns out that Gudo knew exactly who this guy was, that he had been his teacher for quite a long time. Isn't this interesting? Now, I think the person who wrote this story didn't know all the backstory, so we're filling it in a little bit. And what had happened was Munan, the drunken there, had been studying with Gudo for quite a while, but he couldn't study with him with any regularity because he had to continue to lead his lay life. And not only that, he had a lot of trouble with his practice. He was given the koan, "Bring forth the mind that abides nowhere." And he wrestled with that sucker for like 3 decades. A long time. I'm still wrestling with it. So you can imagine at this point what was happening was his teacher was coming to check on him to see how he's doing. And can you imagine what the teacher was thinking? Like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. We've been working for 3 decades and this guy's on a bender? What the heck? But our life is our life, right? And our karmic trajectory is our karmic trajectory. And the way that Gudo handled the situation is so incredible. We read earlier, do not despise any being in any state, right? He really got that this guy was obviously in a lot of trouble, right? And that he was causing huge harm to himself and to his family. So he had also been working with him for a long time. So he knew the sincerity of his heart, he knew the depth of his practice, and he knew how to reach him. Let's just really appreciate that. He knew how to reach him. And it wasn't by despising or chastising or any of those sort of ways of interacting that can cause one fist to come and then the other fist to come, right? He actually met him exactly where he was. Because he knew that even in this horrible, drunken, harmful state that he was in, he was still Buddha. He just had to be reminded of that fact. So he met the Buddha, Munan, drunken Buddha, exactly where he was. And there's something so loving and so trusting about that. And even so releasing about that for Munan, because he was accepted in exactly the state he was in. Does that sound a bit familiar? Like we're sitting on the cushion, and what are we doing? Concentrating on our breath, accepting our life exactly and precisely the way it's showing up. No different. And we're all sitting in the midst of our drunken, crazy states, are we not? Right? So he gets the guy even more drunk, which is kind of radical. That's a radical move. I don't know if this day and age you could really like pull that off, but back in the Tokugawa era. By the way, just so you have a sense of where we are in history, this is around 1620s or so. So the Pilgrims are just landing in Plymouth, and Rembrandt is painting away in the Netherlands, and there's this huge sort of democratic, humanist wave flowing through the world. Okay. No, I lost my train of thought with that. Okay, hold on. Or don't stir me, you have to get this right. Okay, so he met him exactly where he was, and he got him even more drunk. There we are. And he let him fall asleep. He was just companioned him as he was more drunk and more asleep. I mean, that's you in your life, companioning yourself. Let's just really appreciate that. The Buddha nature that is this diamond in the mud of your life shining forth is actually companioning us regardless of circumstance. And then, of course, what happens the next day is Munan wakes up, and obviously the room is filled with the afterglow and the glow of this Zen master's practice. So and Munan has enough of his wits about him now that he can actually comprehend what he's feeling. And as soon as he feels that, I want to say, so he actually, I think this is important, that the man was, that Gudo was in the shadows. And he says to him, everything in this life is impermanent. Life is very brief. If you keep on gambling and drinking, you will have no time left to accomplish anything else, and you will cause your family to suffer. And at that moment, Munan was able to hear those words. And just like that, there's a change of heart. Now, that's not to say that he didn't have to work at maintaining that change of heart, but there was a change of heart. And this change of heart happens to us all the time. We're constantly course correcting, right? So just really appreciate the sophistication and the maturity of your practice. And then this lovely, lovely thing happens where Gudo goes to leave, and Munan is so grateful that he says, I'll just carry your bags for a little while. And he's in the presence of his teacher, and he's feeling his own Buddha nature resonating with the Buddha nature of his teacher. And he's feeling all of that practice, all of that search, all of that quest for what is this life of love? What is this life of compassion? How do I handle myself? I've totally screwed up. All of these questions and these deep, deep human sentiments are rolling around in his heart mind, and he just wants to stay. He just wants to stay with his teacher. Just wants to resolve these confusions. And that is what we're here doing, resolving these confusions so that we're not running around like a wild elephant, or the bull in the china shop or whatever, causing more harm to ourselves and others. But we're actually out there bringing more possibility of love, more possibility of compassion and understanding and clarity and joy, and also capacity to overcome adversity without disdain, to get the job done in a loving way. All of these things, he's feeling, and then they're drawing him to his teacher. And Buddha keeps on saying, "You're done now. You can put it down. No, I'm going to follow you the rest of my life." What he's really saying, Munan really saying, is, I'm going to follow my own Buddha nature the rest of my life. I'm going to follow my own diamond in the mud of my life. And I'm going to do it with my teacher, who will kind of be just a little bit of a stick, right? Anyway, Munan went on, and he was actually ordained at 52. So some people are ordained at 8, and some are ordained at 52. It matters not. There's an interesting story about Munan as he was an older teacher himself. He was staying at, it's another inn story. He was staying at an inn, and as he was walking to the inn, there was a robber that noticed him and thought, "Oh, that looks like a good one, ripe for the picking. I think I'll go after that one," right? So he saw Munan duck into the door of the inn, and he stealthily follows in and checks into the room across the hall. And in the middle of the night, he opens the door to Munan's room, and he sees an oak tree in a garden. And then from the depths of the oak tree come the words, "What do you want?" And the robber's like, "Dude, I don't know what's going on here, but I'd like to know what you're doing. This is pretty amazing. I've never seen this before." And he became his student. Now, oak tree in the garden is kind of a little bit of a Zen-like inside story. So when you work on your koans, right, these little Zen stories, one of them is the student asks the master, "What is Zen?" And the Zen master says, "Oak tree in the garden." Oak tree in the garden. So as you're progressing in your training, you'll work on this particular case. His name was Munan, the man who never turned back. And this is it. Don't ever turn back. No matter where you are, what circumstance you're in, that diamond of your Buddha nature is shining forth. All you have to do is sit down and sober up. May it be so.
It looks like Dharma School is coming.
expectation that the Dharma school was going to present something, or I thought we decided that wasn't happening?
I was just waiting for them to sing the vows. Here they are. I vow to wake all the beings of the world. I vow to set endless heartache to rest. I vow to walk through every wisdom gate. I vow to live the great Buddha way. I vow to wake all the beings of the world. I vow to set endless heartache to rest. I vow to walk through every wisdom gate. I vow to live the great Buddha way. I vow to wake all the beings of the world. I vow to set endless heartache to rest. I vow to walk through every wisdom gate. I vow to live the great Buddha way. That concludes our service this morning. Please stay for homemade pasta. And first we're going to do vows. All right, does anyone have any very quick announcements? All right, please restore the sendo and we'll see you at the pasta.